Hello, YouTube. R. Payne here, marriage, politics, and sports. Hey, listen, this is another one of my Let the Women Tell It series. This is episode 96. And this young lady is going to explain to you the difference between how men and women look at marriage. And if you look at the caption, she says men sacrifice happiness for marriage, while women sacrifice marriage for happiness. And before anybody gets out of the tizzy, she explains it pretty well. We've had these kind of discussions before. You know, when men talk about they sacrifice happiness for marriage, doesn't mean that they're not happy or joyous in the relationship. It means that obligations that they have to their wife and their children mean more. So, anyway, without further ado, we're going to let her talk about it. And and you guys put some comments, like, share, and subscribe to the channel. Put some comments in the chat, or after on a replay, put some comments in the comment section, and let's talk about it. So here goes. Without further ado, we're gonna go ahead and let the woman tell it.
Break down the saying, men sacrifice their happiness for marriage, women sacrifice their marriage for their happiness. Because sis said that doesn't make sense. So let me break it down because this is something that men are saying. And so maybe if I say it, it will kind of resonate a little bit more. I'm not going to hold you. A lot of times, women, we only think about us and what we give up and what we sacrifice. I mean, men do this too, but in marriage, a lot of times we don't always consider what the men give up. Now, this is going to sound crazy because our needs are different, but before y'all react, before y'all get triggered, before y'all just listen first and then comment. Just then comment. When men get married, it is not a fairy tale for them. They're not looking forward to this extravagant wedding. They are not rushing to be with one woman. Now, hear me out. A good man, a man that's God fearing, does not mind giving up that part of himself to be with one woman. Most men, though, it is not their dream and their fantasy to be with one person the way it is for us. We don't need a slew of men. We don't need a roster. We don't need a bunch of people to make us feel good. Men are way more sexual than we are. We are content with one person. Men have to fight against their flesh, fight against their natural desires to be with multiple women. So that is a sacrifice they give up for the woman that they love. And I know.
Let me stop it right there. She's absolutely right. Unfortunately, these days there's more and more women who actually have been bought into the idea that they should be passed around in order to get to experience. And to tell you the truth, what I found out when I talk to a lot of women, or let's just listen to them speak, especially in social media. And this is what I always say, and I believe it's true, and I'm going to let her go again, that when women talk about trauma, it always seems to end at the tip of another man's penis, if you really get down to the brass tacks. So she's right. Women are not really designed to be passed around like that. And it's unfortunate that so many women think they are. But she sounds like one who understands that virtue and femininity is one of the woman's biggest superpowers.
Know somebody's going to be like, but they cheat. I'm not talking about them. I'm just saying in general. Just listen, y'all. Stay here, ladies, because I know how y'all get. Just wait a minute. Also, when a man gets married, he is sacrificing not only protecting himself, but he has to now protect a family. If a cop, burglar, whatever comes to the door, like if anybody knocks at the door, my husband answers the door because he is the protector of this household. He does not expect me to get up in the middle of the night or get up when the doorbell rings to make sure that the household is protected. That is his job. So a man knows when I sign up to be a husband, I am now her protection and my children's protection. Men also know that their resources are no longer for them, they are for their family. However, good men do not mind because that's what makes them feel good as men. However, it is a huge investment in the man. They're investing their time, their loyalty, they're going against their nature to be with one woman, love one woman, take care of a family because they love, when they're loved properly, when they know that woman has their back and that she's loyal, they don't mind making that sacrifice. They don't mind denying the things that they want, the good ones. They don't mind denying the things that they want to make sure that their family is straight. That's why back in the day, granddaddy, even men today, though, men will sacrifice, get up every single day and never complain about having to go to work, never complain about sitting in traffic, never complaining about your nasty pot roast, never complaining. They will just live their lives. They shut up. They do what they got to do to put their family on their back, to hold it down in any way they can. The good ones, not saying men are perfect. I'm just saying that's what they sacrifice. Women, we make sacrifices, right? We bear the children, we hold down the home, da 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 da. But it's equal exchange. The difference is men don't really complain about their sacrifices. And into the women who say that, well, I do everything, sis, that's the marriage you signed up for. No tea, no shade. No tea, no shade. Y'all gotta work that out. So when men say women will sacrifice their marriage for their happiness, when women say, you know what? I've been with this man for 12 years. We have kids together. We built this home together. We have a life together. But right now, this marriage is not serving me. And I need to go outside this marriage. I need to break up my home. I need to break up my family to go be happy. Men don't understand that crap because that man ain't been happy for a while, but he sucked it up and kept doing what he needed to do for his family. And then you'll have other women go, yeah, girl, your happiness is over your children's happiness. Your happiness is over the heartbreak that's going to cause to your husband. Your happiness is over everything. You see how crazy?
Yeah, yeah, it's crazy, right? She says, yeah, it's crazy, and this is the Tia Mowry syndrome, right? That's exactly what she did. She broke up her family because she wasn't happy, and ever since then, every time you see her on camera, she's crying, whining, boo-hoo, and all that kind of stuff. And if her husband takes her back, I'd be very, very disappointed in him. Very.
selfish. So, no, you don't care that your children will have to go back and forth between different homes. No, you won't care about how that is going to hurt your husband because he might be very stoic and not show it, but he still has feelings, especially if he was a good man, especially if he denied people and his feelings and the stuff that he wanted to do for you. And just for you to turn around and be like, I'm unhappy. And then when we go out into the world and we realize fat meat ain't greasy and the grass ain't greener and the dating pool is, then we get mad. Then it's men's problem. Then it's men's fault. And other men are sitting there looking at you like we could have told you that because what they know that we do not is that every man is not going to love you the way your husband loves you. Yes, I know you think you're great. Yes, I know that you are beautiful and your booty is plump and all this other stuff. But men know that they only really love a few women in their lives. They will sleep with a lot of women, they will give attention to a lot of women, but the love down, it's only about two or three. So when a man decides, hey, I want you, I love you enough to marry you, I love you enough to protect you, provide, whatever, again, the good ones, because somebody gonna be in the comments, the good ones, other men are bewildered and bamboozled that you couldn't sacrifice just a little uncomfortability, a little unhappiness, a little just, just to get through that season because what they know that we don't is our emotions don't last forever. Men are not emotional like we are. They know how to thug it out through their emotions to get to the other side. Now, I'm not saying that any of this is easy. I'm not saying that every marriage is going to be perfect and you ain't going to have your issues and you ain't going to have your ups and downs. But if you get married in your 20s and your 30s and you plan to be with this person for the rest of your life and you don't think you ain't going to have a few years of hard or misery or whatever, you don't think that you ain't going to have to go through something. Again, I'm not talking about cheating because somebody's going to be like, cheating. I'm not talking about that.
Yeah, that's the woman's go-to, cheating. And the truth of the matter, statistics show that women cheat as much or more than men do. So we got to put that old trope aside because it's not the issue that women try to chalk it. It's mostly a projection on women's part.
But we as women have to understand that
Mhm.
sometimes our happiness is our job. Sometimes it's not our marriage, it's going to get a hobby. Sometimes it ain't got nothing to do with your family or why you ain't unhappy. Sometimes it's your hormones. Sometimes you just need to get a life, girl. Sometimes you need new friends. Sometimes you might just need a vacation. So I am not the guru to marriage, but I had to break that down because sis didn't understand what I was talking about. Men say it to each other all the time and it clicks. So hopefully, with that explanation, I know somebody is going to miss somebody. It's okay. Hopefully, with that explanation, you understand what they mean. Why men sacrifice their happiness for their marriage and women sacrifice their marriages for their happiness.
She said a lot. She said a mouthful, and no lies told. One of the things I think people don't look at, and I think it's studies out there, by the way, that show if you're when you're courting a woman, if she's on the pill, they say wait another 6 months or so when she gets off because her hormones change, and when her hormones change and stuff, if she's on the pill, you got to see if the attraction, those subliminal attractions that attracted her to you while she was on the pill, remain the same. Now, these are like obscure studies, but they're not mostly popularized. But there's several studies that say when her hormones change, the things that she gets from you in terms of feelings, pheromones, and attractiveness may change also. You don't want that to happen when you're already married because if she turns out when she's off the pill when you're trying to have children that she's not as attracted to you from that hormonal level anymore, then you might lead to trouble. So this is one of those kind of things that could also play into some happiness, right? She made this obligation, but actually because of the pill, her hormones didn't put her in the same frame of mind as she would have been if she was off of them. It sounds maybe obscure, but I heard there's a lot of studies, not a lot, but enough studies on that say that might be true. So that's one of those things when you're courting that you want to get out of the way. You just have to be careful in other ways not to get her pregnant. Other than that, this was a really good video. I thought it was straight on point. The sister, I'm gonna put the link to her description. I mean, a link to her TikTok page in the description. Courtesy, full fair use, and listen up. Maybe listen to it more than once. I think she's on point. Our pain, marriage, politics, and sports. Over and out.